Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. I just wanted to do this video a little bit about the DC Extended Universe as it's been coined. It's not an official word. And I wanted to maybe just go a little bit brief history of how it actually happened, very brief. And just giving the titles, the play-by-play, and then who's actually in control now. So it gives you an idea because a lot of people seem to be confused about that, or who's in charge and who's in charge of what and doing what. So I just wanted to give that a real quick run with it. So let's start with when Man of Steel came out. So when Man of Steel came out, it was really it was Christopher Nolan. It came out The Dark Knight, and he got Zack Snyder involved because he felt that he had a story that he made with David Goyer about Superman, and he thought it would be really cool. So they got Zack Snyder involved to do it. And at this point in time, I think it was Greg Silverman who was the head of the chief creative officer of the whole Warner Brothers Pictures. At this point, there was no such thing as DC Films. It was just Warner Brothers, right? Which is what it is right now. But it was just Warner Brothers, and they did that. So after the pretty much the financial success of Man of Steel, especially in comparison to what happened with Superman Returns, that movie did not make too much money at all. I don't even know if it broke even. So that sequel was scrapped. But Man of Steel came out. It was a reboot and everything. And they got that, so they were going to return for a sequel, and it was being fast tracked. And then, then we revealed, and I said this yesterday, revealed that Batman was going to be in. It was going to be called Batman versus Superman in that term. And now we know that Jay Oliver and Zack Snyder was involved in trying to make this 5-part story arc. And so what they had in mind was different from what Warner Brothers had in mind at this point, right? Now we know that now. Before then, we were kind of like, oh, okay, maybe they're just gonna make, they always had plans to make an expanded universe. But truthfully, according to Jay Oliver, is that and now Jay Oliver is like the director. He's made a lot of animations. He does a lot of DC types things, and he was really working very much with Zack Snyder doing storyboards and stuff like that. So he had a 5-part story arc, and I think in the way how Christopher Nolan shaped the Dark Knight trilogy, he wanted it to be a finite universe. It was nothing going to expand longer than that. But because of this whole Batman v Superman thing, was the amount of content they're throwing in there in the Justice League, Warner Brothers Picture probably looked at that, Greg Silverman, and I think at this point Kevin Tsujihara was hired as well, that this is what they wanted to do. They're gonna announce a slate of 10 DC films. A whole bunch of DC films. This is what we're gonna do. They're looking at, and it's a Warner. It's a studio. They're gonna try to be like Marvel. Marvel was very successful up to that point. They were like, we want to cash in on that, and other studios were trying to cash in on that as well. Everybody was coining the term cinematic universe, and Marvel pretty much started that, and so they wanted to do that, and you can't blame them. It's a business opportunity that it's a gold mine. It's a moneymaker, right? So they were gonna call it like the DC Cinematic Universe. It was coined by fans and media. The actual Warner Brothers has not coined it at anything at all. They don't call it anything but the DC films. And so they were gonna make something out of it. They're gonna expand it. And that, in fact, this DC Extended Universe, that term actually came from Entertainment Weekly. So he just made a joke about it for Batman v Superman. But that's spread around. I still use it. Everybody still uses it. It's just easy. It just rolls off the tongue. DCEU rolls off the tongue easily. So they were going to do this whole thing. But Batman v Superman didn't do well with the critical ratings, and it didn't make the $1 billion that Warner Brothers probably wanted it to make. It made a lot of money. over $800 million. That's nothing to sneeze about. But it probably the investors probably looked at Batman v Superman and they were like, it's got to make Avengers money. It's got to make $1 billion. But it didn't do that, and they followed the money. They followed the money, and they listened to the bloggers, and they listened to the reviews. They listened to the critical hate, of course, of a movie that they pretty much chopped up themselves. The Snyder cut is I'm sorry, not Snyder cut, but the ultimate cut was way, way better. And so they decided to actually make a DC Films, to make an actual studio aside from Warner Brothers, like how Marvel Studios is now. And then they hired on Jeff Johns. They got John Berg involved. And Charles Roven was stepped aside in that sense, so they completely changed it up, and they got Jeff Johns to be the chief creative officer and president of DC Films. John Berg's the executive vice president of DC Films. Jeff Johns will be reporting to Diane Nelson, which was the president of DC Entertainment at that time. And also John Berg would report to, at that time, Silverman, and then ultimately Sujihara. And Silverman was replaced by Toby Emmerich. I think it was Toby Emmerich came on board. And then, so now that was the current. That was before Justice League. So it's Toby Emmerich, and we got Kevin Sujihara, and then Kevin Sujihara is he's the president of the whole thing. He's like the pictures, Warner Brothers Pictures, the big shot himself. Up there above all the rest. So he oversees everything Warner Brothers. It could be Harry Potter. It could be anything. It can be all the other movies. So when it came to Justice League, right, and we all know what happened, and I've said it before, but like I said, this is like a summary in a sense. Kevin Sujihara, what was reported that he gave the mandate for Justice League to be 2 hours, under 2 hours, because they want to put more bodies in seats. And he's a business guy. He's only thinking about the money. He's thinking about the business way. He put the trust in Jeff Johns and John Berg to get to make the Justice League under 2 hours. I don't know how much they have talked to him involved in the creative part of the project. They probably did. John Berg probably had to talk to Toby Emmerich, and Emmerich talked to Sujihara. This is what they're going to do because they're going to need more money. It's going to increase the budget about a lot. But ultimately, the decision to do the creative change was probably Jeff Johns and John Berg. You don't call them, Jeff Johns, a chief content officer or chief creative content officer of DC Films if he's not going to if he's not going to have the final say in the creative part of it, right? John Berg too. And so what they envisioned was different from what Zack Snyder envisioned. Like that was what the whole thing that was wrong with it to begin with. Because what Zack Snyder was trying to do with Jay Oliver and David Goyer, what they were trying to do was make a finite 5-part art story. Finite. They were trying to be Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Imagine being Christopher Nolan, who wanted to just end it at 3. He just wanted to end it. And Jeff Johns and John Berg, or just another entities, they're coming in all of a sudden, and they're your bosses, and they're looking at you and say, all right, stretch it out. We're going to want to make it like this. We want to be in the next Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, Christopher Nolan's like, I didn't intend to be that. So, but now put Zack Snyder in that shoe. Right, so that's what happened. What happened with that? It was just 2 different visions butting heads with each other, and ultimately that caused what Justice League was. And Justice League is a change in the vision without extending the deadline, without putting the release date later. So it never had time to change into whatever Jeff Johns and John Berg wanted. It wasn't perfected. It was half-assed. And they brought on Joss Whedon, which who does a completely different version of a movie than Zack Snyder would have. Right, the way he shoots and everything was not what Zack Snyder would have done, and so they really changed it up. So I think the thing that should have been done. Now, this is my own opinion. Is that if they were going to go with Zack Snyder, let him make his movies, and then let him finish it, and then after that, reset it in a way and let Jeff Johns, John Berg do whatever they want. Like if that's they want to be, he wants to be the Kevin Feige of that universe. Let him be the because he is a talented guy. Jeff Johns is a talented guy, and he can really write, and he does some great comics from the ones I've read. He does a great Green Lantern, probably one of the best. And he's fantastic at that stuff. But it's just that it didn't flow well. He didn't have, and Joss Whedon, not defending any of them, but it's just that he didn't have time to, in 6 months, reshoot these scenes and try to work in a story that was continuing off from somebody else's story. That should have took a year or more. If they were going to do that route, it took a year or more. But ultimately, I think we should trust in the directors. And I think Margot Robbie said it best in her interview that she did with... well, I'm getting this off the Indian Express, but I know it was from another headline here. Let's see. Okay, so she said that, in my opinion, a good producer trusts their director, and their job is to enable that director's vision. That's it. That's your job. If that's your director's vision, you need to do everything in your power to make that possible. And I think that's a wonderful thing. In the DC universe, too, once you decide on who your director is and they have a vision, you have to enable that vision and step in at moments to keep it on course if need be. I think that's the way. I think that's what a producer should do. Obviously, she's not just talking about Zack Snyder. She's probably more talking about David Ayer and what happened with David Ayer's film and the different things that they've done to that. So, but she has something to say that now we got out from the DC films, right? The whole thing with that, Kevin Tsujihara totally just didn't trust John Berg and Jeff Johns after that. They probably gave him a spiel that says, this is going to be $1 billion. We're going to do it. We're going to be like the new Kevin Feige's. This is how we're going to do hope, optimism, blah, blah, blah. And so Kevin Tsujihara ate it all up. As an investor, I'm like, all right, here's your money. Here's your money. You promised the Justice League, I'm going to give you another $100 million or $150 or $200 million to do their reshoots. You hired Joss Whedon and all this type of stuff. He's a business guy. He's not. He's gonna leave the creative stuff. He has no time to think about how the movie's gonna go. He's just gonna get the pitch and then give you the money, and then let the people that know how to do creations work on that while he has to go figure out the other movies. He has a lot of movies in Warner Brothers Pictures. I'm not defending. I'm just saying that some of the decisions he made is based on business and not in a creatively. The creative thinking is the people that you call the creative content officers, which is Jeff Johns and John Berg, who he worked together with, and Joss Whedon was ultimately the tool to do that. And so when that didn't come through and it broke even. I mean, they're not even reporting what the budget is because it's probably off the charts, right? All the reshoots and the CG and all that kind of stuff and the marketing and stuff. And so it either broke even or lost money. Who knows? So Kevin Tsujihara lost it. He's like, oh my God, that was terrible. They threw a story to say something like John Berg always wanted to do Lego movies. Right. Yeah, right. And then Jeff Johns still has his title, but they pretty much dismantled DC Films, that separate studio, put that studio back in Warner Brothers Pictures, and then had hired a new guy called Walter. His name is Walter Hamada, and Chantal Nong, who would be the vice in terms of content creation officer. She's going to oversee the production. She's going to oversee the production team and everything. And it was reported that Jeff Johns, even though his title hasn't really changed much, is that he's more going to be an advisory role. So that says right there that Kevin Sujihara, who a lot of people, and even me, it's always the beginning, I'm like, kick him out. But when you really think about it, look at the titles and how they're thinking, he was to blame in terms of business decisions and giving the go-ahead for this team to really change it up this quickly and still keep the release date. But as a business decision, I think he just did what he thought was best, and whatever he heard from Jeff Johns and John Berg, that this is the way to go, and he made the wrong choice and greenlighting whatever they had intended and giving them an excessive amount of budget to reshoot scenes that was already shot. It was the same scene, it was just shot differently. Weird. So that's unfortunate in itself. But that's pretty much the summary of what happened, and that's why now we have Walter Hamada as president of DC Films, Chantal Nong, if I'm saying her name right, as vice president of the film studio. The studio moved into Warner Brothers Pictures, and Kevin Sujihara, in a way, stepped aside from it, letting Toby Emmerich be involved as the head of that. But they really run a tight ship now. Like, you don't hear much of what their inner process is going on there. They don't have any announcements. That's why it's really interesting to see what happened in San Diego Comic-Con, right? Are they going to come out and say anything, or are they just going to keep quiet and here's a slate, here's your directors, here's your producers, here's your movies. We're going to keep leakage at a minimal, real tight ship. So, and I think that's good ultimately for a studio, because you can't have things coming out all the time. But it is interesting, and I'm really I really feel like it's going to be good from now on. I think we have had a couple change-ups here and there. Now we're going to go into the future of the DCEU, and a lot of people are wondering if Zack Snyder is still involved with it. Well, he is. He is still involved in the capacity of producer. There are rumors that Walter Hamada wants him back in fully. I'm not sure. There was no quotable announcement, so I don't know. But it would be interesting to see what happens at San Diego Comic-Con. Speaking of which, San Diego Comic-Con. So I just decided to go on Vero, just out of the blue. I didn't really think of anything of it. I just went to, because I saw a picture of Zack Snyder around with the Comic-Con phone. I'm like, I took that and I was like, well, here's hoping boss man himself, Zack Snyder, makes it to San Diego Comic-Con this year. Crossing my fingers. And then he liked it. Within a few hours, he liked it. And I'm like blown away, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to freak out. I'll be right back. Because, one, he liked it again. I mean, it's crazy. I know. I tagged him in it. So there's three things on here. One, oh my God, he's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. Okay, so that's a possibility. That doesn't mean anything about a Snyder Cut, by the way, because he's a producer for Wonder Woman. So he could, because he did get that award for the first Wonder Woman, he could be there to support Patty Jenkins and to support Warner Brothers and DCEU. So he could just be there for Wonder Woman. So don't get too excited. But it's great to see that he's back in the game in a way, and to have him on stage at San Diego Comic-Con, that's awesome, right? The other one is that he just liked it because I tagged him in it, and he sees himself in this picture, and he hopes so too. So that could be it. But it is kind of cool, really cool, that he liked it. But I don't, I'm not trying to get you too excited about it. I freaked out because not every day a director you really like, sees you, right? So I'm the little old guy in a chair, but that was super exciting. Okay, so now I said I'd spend like 5 minutes or so on comments. What is my time now here? Okay, I think I have some moment here, and I may do this on a Sunday, maybe I'll do a Sunday commenting thing, but let me go into the comments real quick here. So this is about the possibility of Justice League cut announcement. I've answered a lot of your comments already. Okay, I'm getting really better at that. Let's go with the first one. Brian Heaton, I'm glad you have a good sense of humor about the trolls being jerks on here. I really enjoy your channel and am glad to hear and see other people who care about the Snyder Cut and Power Rangers and all the stuff you talk about. Thanks for making these videos. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Continue to watch it. Awesome. You're going to put a heart right there. So, Rami Ahmed, always great post, Chris. Hope they release Snyder Cut this year. Me too, me too. Terrace Walls, Zack Snyder invited him for a personal screening when your theater is done. Yeah, Chris has been going strong promoting your movie. He deserves it. Yeah, I don't know if I deserve it, but it'll be really cool if I, on the 30th, 40th, or 100th page of people he considers friends, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so if that ever happens, I am buying that ticket, going down to that theater. I'm gonna bring you some Mac nuts, chocolate Mac nuts, and wherever Hawaii, Kona coffee if you want. And yes, I'd really want to get it. We could watch Batman v Superman for all I care. So anyway, K4Y74H. Yeah, I like that you read comments. It feels like that you're in contact with people you make videos to. Stupid YouTube won't let me control C control V my comment from the previous video here, but I wish I could because I don't know if you read it. I don't think you did, and it was quite a long one, but I want your opinion on that. So I did read that. I replied to that, and it was the video from before, I believe. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you so much. Sorry I didn't read it earlier. There's just so many comments, but Ariel75, being a huge Superman fan, I geeked out too when it was revealed, but when I found out Wonder Woman was going to be in it, man, oh man, I was in geek paradise. Every day watching all the awesome trailers was torture to get to opening day. The night before opening day, I couldn't sleep in anticipation of seeing the most epic movie ever. BVS is a masterpiece and most likely the best movie I'll ever see during my lifetime. Me too. I agree wholeheartedly. It was incredible. Just when the trio was there, the Trinity, it was panned back, I was like, chicken skin, man. It was like, whoa, or goosebumps for people on the mainland. I think, is that a local thing to say chicken skin? But goosebumps, I would say, just all over. Wayne Solo, Chris wants to say, I love your videos, great job. Thank you. Beauty Vet, I like your dedication on this video. It's awesome. I feel like you're the voice for us. Well, thank you. I'm just a huge fan myself. And I just want to continue because I love it so much. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Yes. JVS. Wow, I can't believe you were watching then. I definitely did vlog all the way up until getting in, and at the aftermath, I still have some footage inside I haven't released this year. I have no clue what to expect. Next year, though, maybe you should try to go. So, yes, that was you. Sam, that was you. That was totally you. Yeah. Was it Periscope? I'm just trying to remember, but that was cool. You really took me in there. I really saw how the line went and how they opened the doors. And when they opened the doors, it was so exciting. It was like going into like some kind of a ride, So I definitely want to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know. I'm thinking hopefully maybe next year. Who knows? Lantern 2814. If they announce the Snyder Cut at Comic-Con, it would be huge news. It might actually distract from comic Aquaman and the other films. That's the only reason why I can see why they wouldn't announce it then. But if Zack really is at Comic-Con, it proves he has been hinting about his cut his whole time. So it could, yeah. I mean, he could. If it would be huge news. I don't know. I don't know if it would distract from Aquaman and the other films. I think if they ever even do announce Snyder Cut, it will be really short. They wouldn't call it Snyder Cut. Like if Zack Snyder came on stage and he talks about Wonder Woman or something, or he was on the Wonder Woman panel and someone asked him, "Is there going to be a director's cut for Justice League?" He says, "Yeah, there could be." Usually, it'll be really brief. They're not going to make a big deal about it. I don't think. If they do, great. But if they don't, and if they are gonna somehow like just put it out there, it would just be really, really short. That's what I believe anyway, if at all, right? But like a lot of people know, Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman 84 and other movies that are in the timeline. That's their main goal here, is to talk about the future movies. BVS announcement in 23, one of my most exciting days in my life. I agree. Yeah, you should read comments. That would be amazing. Fun. Okay, I am. That's from Hanan, but Don Breaker. If I didn't get laid, I wouldn't have 3Ks. The perfect response. Thank you. Gerard Chris, I released the Snyder Cut. Okay. Ali Digital, it will get released soon. I believe. I believe too. I really do believe. I believe in the truth. Hopefully it happens. If not, they have to tell me that it's not coming. Then I won't believe it anymore. If Snyder shows up at Comic-Con to announce future DC stuff at all, it means Snyder Cut will indeed happen, just maybe later than we expect. They wouldn't bring him back if they weren't going to repair bridges. Yeah, hashtag in Hamada we trust. Hashtag I want to believe. Hashtag keep hope alive. Repair now, reboot, release Snyder Cut. So this is from Hard Boiled Entertainment. Yeah. I agree. I mean, in a certain sense, I think Snyder Cut appearing, that's a huge deal. I think whether that means Snyder Cut or not, it could just mean that they are ready to have him, keep him on board, or because he's producer of Wonder Woman and things like that. But if he comes out and says and they plan to put him in direct a movie later on, I'm all for that as well. Anyway, I gotta move. It's getting really long now. Frank the Tank 661 release the Snyder Cut. Chris Wall MVP. My mom would have to leave my bed. Thanks. Thanks. Bobby Owobajo. Sorry, ruined that one. What if the Flash movie is about both Flashpoint and Crisis on Earth X and introducing the DCEU to Dr. Manhattan, combining both DCEU and DCTV? That would be like an incredible thing. Although unlikely that they will combine that type. I think for Crisis, Final Crisis and things like that, it would probably be later, much later along the line. I think Flash, they're going to get it real Flash solo. And most likely because the directors probably don't want to do a Flashpoint movie. And I think that type of storyline will probably be a long time later, before they're going to concentrate doing like solo stuff before they get even back into the team thing, confidence into team type movies again, right? Manoj Varugis, I hope I said the name. I'm stuck with E3. Me too. I'm always managed time for Chris videos. Thank you. I hope you all go crazy like that when they announce something epic. Yes, I was stuck with E3 too. Did you see the Bethesda announcement was crazy? Like, everything that I hoped would happen. They did this. Even though it was teasers, they announced it. Starfield. They announced Elder Scrolls 6. Oh my God, Fallout 76 is a whole online game. Oh my, I can't wait to see how that's going to work out. But I am excited for all that. Even Elder Scrolls Blades, like that, a full-fledged Elder Scrolls game on my phone, and I could play with on my PS4 too. Yeah, I'm all for it. Rage 2 looks pretty interesting. And Doom Eternal? Yeah, okay. It is going to be announced. We deserve, we want it, we need it. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Broham, yep. Geraldo Cortez, thanks so much for the shout out. Yep, good job on the Flash theme. I'm looking forward to if you're going to do any other themes. Let me know. Invite Chris want to see the Snyder. Yes, I would totally. Please invite me to see the Snyder Cut. This is from TNJ Ayala. Please don't stop talking about. I am not. I'm totally gonna keep talking about Game Boy 13. You're the only movie guy I listen to. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you, Rob Ayodi. Josha Music. Hashtag release the Snyder. Yes. Sarutobi AF. I'm pretty amazed that Jeff Johns was given this power and couldn't do a good job since he is a good comic writer, and since that's the thing, movies should have been good as the comics are. Yeah. So like I said, Jeff Johns. There are a lot of say he had a lot to do with Wonder Woman, although he hasn't been credited, but there's articles saying that he wasn't credited because it was too late or something. I don't know if that was just them trying to boost him up to a respectable level or not sure. But he is really good at being, maybe he should be a writer, just stay as a writer for DC films, I wouldn't, if he's really good at writing, then that should be a role for him in DC films. Who knows? Kenji Ui, just believe, man, believe, but don't keep your hopes up, man. Trying not hard to. That there's a difference. There is a difference between hype and realistic. So that's that. Cyborg movie pitch directed by Snyder. Exploration of AI, its dangers, benefits, social media, security, hacking, maintaining his humanity, quantum possibility, unless it's in the Snyder cut. So, oh yeah, I like that. If it's in the Snyder cut, the whole Cyborg, there's probably a play on it. Sorry for the siren outside. That's really loud. But the Cyborg movie, I really want a Cyborg movie, or at least maybe a Teen Titans movie with Cyborg in it. That would be awesome. I think Ray Fisher deserves to be seen again. It deserves to be in another movie. So that's what I say of that. That comment was hilarious. Okay, TJ, you see. I don't remember which comment was that, but Steve Ol 316. Yeah, I think I'm more excited, curious for Comic-Con now more than ever. I would love to see Zack Snyder make an appearance at Hall H this year. Even better to hear him announce that Snyder Cut is officially happening. I expect Walter Hamada to be at Comic-Con. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. I like to hear where his head is at with the DCEU. Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman 2 and 4 are given at Comic-Con 2018. Also, Chris, reading and responding to some of your favorite comments, whether they're trolling or appreciating, make a nice and funny last 5-minute segment. This is going on more than 5 minutes. I got about 1 minute, but thank you so much. Yes, I really looking forward to what Comic-Con has to offer, and hopefully Walter Hamada is there. Let me try to go. This is wow. This is quite a bit of comments here. Let me see if I saw one I haven't read yet. Huge ass. My prediction: Snyder Hamada will come out at the end of last minute type of announce. Yes, cool. I hope that really happens. I really hope so. Let's see. Nightfall 182. Unhealthy obsession, Chris. But I'm curious to see what the fallout from the DCC will be. He's a huge fan, by the way. I mean, he's been on all my videos. I know he does some negative commenting, but thank you for watching. Yes, Juan, keep reading comments. Yeah. What should I? Chris, take the $200. You can buy a lot of pizza with that. Myron Captain Nekis also released the Snyder Cut and released Chris's mother from his basement. Thanks. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thomas Crown 17. Adding Steve Trevor back is a big mistake. Better be a flashback. This is probably my last one. That will throw any little stakes the first movie had. Yeah, I agree with that, because Wonder Woman was whole about Steve Trevor in Justice League, and bringing him back would be kind of weird. And I think, like what people said, it could be his grandson. Really possibly, but she probably wouldn't fall in love with him because she'd still be in love with Steve Trevor. They would have mentioned the grandson's name instead if she was involved with him. So it could be just saving the grandson. It could be an evil doppelganger. It could be an illusion, or it could be like Kevin Costner's role as the father in Batman v Superman, the Dream Ghost, right? Giving her some kind of hope or something to get her out of her. There's a critical point in the movie where she has to do something, right? So that could be it too. So I agree with you. I think Steve Trevor, Chris Pine won't be Steve Trevor, or if he was, he'd be like a dream ghost in that sense. Okay, one more. Shiraz. Oh yeah, thank you for thank you for going on Patreon, by the way, Shiraz. Thank you so much for your little Patreon donation. I think we will release an ultra extended cut with Snyder cut out parts. This would be disappointing, but I can't see Warner Brothers following a different version to what they released, as that would mean they got it wrong. And what version would the DCEU roadmap follow? It's a complex issue. By releasing Snyder cut, Warner Brothers would lose credibility. Not that they have much now. Great fit. Interesting you say that, and I agree, because from what I've heard about Snyder Cut, it's he may have to compromise and change the ending and things like that. So, and he may have already done that. So what we could see is that a compromised version of the Snyder Cut, meaning he had already changed the ending, and that's why we see the heroes standing around, and it looked like they won the day and stuff like that. So that could be the cut release, and so I think Jay Oliver also said was it Jay Oliver? I think it was him. Yeah. He said that if it was released, it would be like a 99% version of Snyder Cut. And I think that 1% would be the ending. That 1% would be the connecting tissue between the Snyder Cut and the other movies. So that could happen elsewhere. Like the other said, it would be really weird, and I don't think anybody has really done it before, but called it alternate cut, like how they had alternate endings on a Blu-ray. This could be the alternate cut. So that telling you that this is not canon, and this is just what Snyder did. The director's cut, even the director's cut, could also be not canon too. I'm trying to remember, there was a movie that did that. There was a director's cut, and it was not canon. So and there's so many things they could do with that. Look at the Aliens movies. Look at the Terminator movies. Oh my God, look at the Terminator movies. Like how many changes did but that could happen in itself. So I think I'll end it here. I went way over the 30-minute mark. I mean, thank you for commenting. I'll try to get 5 minutes in for each day just to read some videos, comments. There's just so many, but I will continue to look at it. I'll comment it. I'll do written comments on it, and I'll heart shape or liked it or whatever. Wait, we're real quick. I have I think Film Junkie may put this out, but we are going to do a podcast thing later this week on a Saturday. It will be probably on his channel, so be on the lookout for that. I also have a podcast with Zod Writer Show coming up in June 19th, so June 16th and June 19th. Pretty close together, but be on the lookout for that. And for Film Junkies one on this Saturday, Film Junkie Dave will put it out on his site. And it's kind of funny because he did a video, and in the video he says that if Chris Wallace, you're watching this, hit me up. I want to do a podcast about San Diego Comic-Con, and I that literally was like the bat signal for me. I'm coming. I'm flying there. No. So I responded to that. So we're going to have that. So anyway, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.